Oh, we're here. We're live.
This week's number of the day is 5. There are 5 calories in this Lando Norris monster.
Oh, God.
Heck yeah, baby.
You're going to kill yourself, man.
Dude, there's only 5 calories.
I'm going to outlive you.
0 sugars, 5 carbs. There's a lot of words on this can that I don't understand.
Bro, I'm going to outlive you by like 30 years. You better just go ahead and name me as your godparent.
F1 America, baby! You're telling me these guys can turn left and right?
This is where your money's coming from.
Yeah,
bro.
Lando, do you actually stand by this drink? Because I will say the taste is meh, but the can
he
looks
probably
sick.
doesn't drink it. He's trying to live a long life. Okay, here we go. Hello, beautiful people. Episode 9. We've made it to 9 episodes. I feel like once we get to double digits, we're like...
Dude,
we're doing it. Actually, I feel like we just have to do this for a year to actually do it. Even if people don't listen, we're having fun.
but we're getting consistent streamers. So
Are we?
we're getting averaging 50 an episode. So
Oh, actually?
hey, to you 50 listeners,
Who is
thank
listening
you.
to this?
Hit us up if you're listening to this and you aren't in our
Can
inner
you
friend circle.
DM us on Instagram or something just so we know who
X,
you are?
Yeah, we want to know and also contribute because we have a no dumb question segment.
Oh, yeah.
And
It
we
would
need
actually
more
be
questions.
sick to hear some stuff. But yeah, welcome to the F1 America podcast. This is the Miami Grand Prix race review. We're a little bit late. Man, I've been busy.
Dave,
Matt.
We haven't seen you in a month and a half. Davey, shout out Davey.
Oh, that's
Filled
so
in.
sick.
We did the Japanese race review. Dude, I had to cut so much content. We talked for almost an hour and 45 minutes.
Are you kidding me?
All like podcast content, but I was like, there's no way we're gonna listen to an hour and 45-minute pod. So
That's so sick.
we had to cut a little bit. But
I listened to some of it, but then I had to stop. That's so awesome.
yeah, but shout out Davey.
Dude, Davey's a ledge.
Sick call in. And
Which honestly, we should have. If anyone's listening to this and you're like a faithful viewer, we should have more people on to just
Dude.
like have guest segments and stuff. That would be fun.
shout out Jack Maher, my friend from Detroit.
Dude, Jack, I don't even know you, man, but I want to know you.
He's been sliding in my line asking when he can jump on the pod. He wants to join.
Bro, he should definitely join.
Dude,
Wait,
done.
that would be so fun. Why not?
If you're a
dude?
faithful listener and you show us that you have listened to every single pod, let us know and we will gladly bring you on.
That's so sick. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, I've been gone. I've been really busy.
Yeah, you were on a hut trip when we
on a
did the
hut trip.
Japanese
There
Grand
was-
Prix.
Yeah, there was no snow on the hut trip. Normally, hut trips are for
Sick.
skiing. You go and you hike into these huts. And
Meanwhile, we just got 22 inches in northern Colorado.
yeah, dude, I'm going skiing tomorrow. I'm so excited. I'm gonna go absolutely shred some powder.
Y'all, Natty is skiing in May.
I'm so excited. I skied on Saturday. It was amazing, and I'm gonna ski tomorrow because I might ski Longs Peak.
Dude, sketch?
Maybe, I don't know. Well, we'd go up and assess avalanche stuff, or I might.
I was going to say the snowpack is heavy.
Dude, it is heavy. Well, up higher, it's definitely lighter.
That's fair.
Lighter.
That's fair.
Snow level was above 9,000 feet, so long should be good. But
Yeah,
might do
Longs
that
is a
if
14,000
Travis-
foot peak, by the way, for those who don't know Colorado well. It's fairly sketchy, but super fun 14,000 foot mountain. You can hike and allegedly ski down if you don't get caught in an avalanche.
Yeah, we don't get caught in. I have 100% record. I have a
Prove
great,
it. Prove
I have a
it.
great track record of not getting caught in avalanches. No, I've been busy though. Busy with work, working on Dirtbag, which is one of my little separate.
Shout out Dirtbag.
Yeah, hold on. Shout out. This is actually Dirtbag HQ where I filmed this from, but here we go. A little Dirtbag. It's an endurance sport mix that I do on the side, which is really fun. Would love for that to be the main gig, but need to sell a lot. But yeah, so I've been doing that. Just a lot of stuff, dude. It's just been a busy last month. I feel like, even on Sunday, I was just like booked up. We normally record on Sunday. And then finally it's Wednesday, and here we are talking about Miami, which we were supposed to get tickets to. And then I like messaged the girl who's going to give us tickets, and she was like, oh yeah, like I'll get them to you this week. And then she just like ghosted me, and I'm like, this sucks.
Hey,
But hey,
I
I'm
guess
gonna
we
be,
have Austin and Vegas in our back
I'm gonna
pocket
be
if we need.
persistent though. Yeah, I'm gonna like come back and be like, hey, this guy's can
Oh,
you give us some.
Mexico?
Dude, we could go back to Mexico City. Mexico City was fun, dude. It
Me
was a
gusta.
fun, dude. That would be sick if me, you, Hope, and Megan went to Mexico.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah, we'll figure out childcare. We don't need to worry about that
hey,
yet.
dude.
All right, let's do it.
That would be so sick. We went last year and it was amazing. We'll try and figure that out. Let's see.
But
Um,
Dave, there is a lot that happened in that break too. I don't know if you've been following like at
some
all.
probably not as much as you have because I haven't had as much time. But it seemed like even from the race, like what was happening in Miami, I'm like, okay, a lot's gone down. But give me your synopsis of we had this huge break, which in my opinion kind of sucked.
Dude, it was terrible. I'm
Like
like
I
even
feel
from
like
I was
the momentum was built and like we had these races and then it's like we're a month
I know.
without any races, over a month, and I'm
And
just like, do I even care anymore?
the funny
I'm like
part is even on
watching
the
hockey
content
now.
side. Oh, dude. Yep. Hey,
Go
not a bad
Avs.
thing.
Go
Um,
Avs.
I do not support the Avalanche.
Go Avs.
Going on record. But yeah, even on the content side of a lot of the outlets that we like consuming content from, like P1 with Matt and Tommy, the race, like even
Yeah.
F1 TV, their content was just stale because
Yeah.
nothing was really going on. Which one of the points I want to bring up put GT racing on the radar pretty heavily because our boy Max Verstappen. Dude, he's just been absolutely crushing it in GT racing.
He's such a good racer. It's insane.
And then, Dave, you're going to love this.
Tell
You
me.
know who else has jumped into GT racing from the F1 grid?
Tell me Valtteri Bottas.
No, even better.
Who?
Lance Stroll. And guess how good he is in GT racing?
Horrible.
Placed 48th in his last GT race with 8
No.
minutes of penalties.
No way. How many competitors were there? Lance. I'm looking this up.
So they usually have 3 heats in the GT race. And hey, shout out, I am not a GT novice. Or I'm a GT novice here. Not a GT fan yet. But from what I understand is they have different heats. They have like the pro heat, the amateur, and the rookie heat. And they go at different times because the tracks are so much longer. And he obviously raced in the pro heat. And it was the GT World Challenge in Europe at the Richard Mill racetrack. Or
Okay.
Richard, yeah, I think so. And it was a team of 3 racers. And they placed 48th, 58th. But Lance accrued 8 minutes of penalties. I'm like,
Dang, that's
dude
crazy.
sucks in every sense of the racing.
Dude,
But-
honestly, here's why I'm excited about that. That like I think this is Lance's soft roll to GT racing. That's like when you said that, immediately I'm like, oh, how do you kick him off the team without it being this like kind of insulting piece for like the family?
Big brain.
It's like, oh, get him into GT racing.
Yep, because
get him on
Aston
a
Martin
team.
has a team.
Yeah, and like then like clear his spot because they for sure are like, this guy sucks. Like, get him out of here. So maybe he's on his way out of F1, which could be awesome to open up that Aston Martin spot. I would be really encouraged to see Aston Martin as a team with Newey as car designer and everything, like have a blank slate. No Fernando Alonso, which we love Fernando, but he's also going to be on his way out, and no
Yeah.
Lance Stroll. I feel like they could actually do a rebuild and it would be kind of sick.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean,
That's dope, dude.
yeah. So GT has been.
Congrats, Lance. We're rooting for Lance's career as a GT driver.
Yep, get off the F1 grid, baby. You don't deserve to be there.
Okay, what else happened, Matt, over the break?
Honestly, nothing else super notable. Just a lot of, I don't know, like trying to chase drivers around on their vacations or going off and doing random things. But the only thing that's worth mentioning, and I pulled it up because I want to get this correct and explain it properly.
Talk to me.
But you've probably heard about super clipping, or at least heard Crofty or the guys drop the term super clipping.
I have.
If you haven't, what super clipping is, it occurs when the car's hybrid system starts harvesting energy. So that's when they've been lifting and coasting on the straights. So they're essentially trying to pull off the throttle and recharge their battery. And the term is called super clipping. And if you remember a couple races ago when Colapinto was super clipping, and who was it?
It was
Gabby or Oliver came hot around the corner.
It was Oliver, yeah.
Oliver came hot around the corner and almost got obliterated.
Dude, it was so bad.
So there was a rule change on super clipping now. So the surprise, surprise, the only ones that are super mad about this are Mercedes. But essentially, the fix of this rule maximizes the amount of harvesting that you can do from receive from super clipping. So it increased, which was a standard of 250 kilowatts to 350 kilowatts.
Okay.
And it allows the car to charge much faster. So there's less lifting and coasting on the straights, or that super clipping. The other part that I don't really understand deeply into the engineering side is the FIA lowered the qualifying recharging limits from 8 megajoules to 7 megajoules per lap. So they dropped it down, which I think Davey and I talked about it last episode. I don't know if it made the final cut, but essentially it's 1/10 of a second per lap is that difference, which in Formula One, huge. But in our
faster
standard,
or slower?
That's going to be slower because the recharge limit went from 8 to 7. So it's an extra 10th is what they estimate it as. But essentially this was to help minimize the leapfrogging and make it a little bit better from a racing standpoint from everything we were complaining about, especially in Australia, like coming around that straight to the quick S section on the back of the lap when they started lifting halfway through the straight, and you're like, what are they doing?
Yeah, why is Charles Leclerc is passing so fast going around that? Like, and it's because of the lift and coast.
Yeah, so they made an update to that, which is, I don't know if it is the reason. Also, there was a lot of upgrades that were brought to the table for the Miami Grand Prix, which, Natty, I think it's worth taking a second to just explain the process of upgrades and what they can be, why they occur for our novice listeners.
Yeah, so I'm going to butcher some of this because there's probably like limitations on the amount of upgrades that you can do and different points in the season where you're allowed to bring upgrades. So you can speak in this, Matt, if I miss stuff. But basically what happens with F1 is you're constantly doing car development. So you start with car, let's call it iteration 1, and that car has a specific power unit, and specific brakes, and then a ton of aerodynamic features. Like all of the mechanical and electrical pieces of the car make up that car. But throughout the season, essentially, there are hundreds of people back at what people refer to as the factory of these different teams who are analyzing data from races and trying to make better components or systems of those cars. And so you get different wings, which that can be like front wings. Those could be like aerodynamic elements on the sides or top of the car. It could be the rear wing. You get different brake systems, different like heat transfer systems. There's all this stuff that cars or the factory is doing, trying to make new parts and then make their car faster as a result or more efficient. Just basically making a better car. So Mercedes started off and they had the best car and they've been dominating. So now all these other teams started learning about what's working, what's not working. And at different iterations throughout the season, they bring what are called upgrade packages, which are typically a few different things that they're fitting onto the car, or things that they're changing that are dramatic enough. So like McLaren this past weekend had a big upgrade package. Do you know if they're allowed to do stuff every week?
So they have no limit to the amount of upgrades that they can bring to the table, but they have to consider their what we would call their salary cap. Is they only can spend 135 million. Only spend 135 million.
So hard. It's so hard to.
So then you have to consider, okay, what are we paying our engineers in doing this? What are we doing? Like, how many are we creating and developing? So they really have to be strategic of what do they need? Do they need an engine? Do they need aero components? This is what makes Formula One is this is why the engineers are some of the smartest in the world, is they need to figure out what is the cheapest but most effective and efficient way we can make this car go faster overall.
Yep.
So totally. There's a lot that brought upgrades to Miami. Mercedes did not, so they could still be very well on the top of the pack. But
I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
Dude, overall, just give me your thoughts on the race. A month away, Miami Grand Prix starts.
Yeah.
There's a lot. It was a sprint weekend. We can touch on the sprint. We don't have to. But there's a lot of racing to be had. Thoughts?
It was cool to see McLaren have pace in the sprint. I think for one, that was exciting. Of like, okay, there's more players in the field, and it's not just Mercedes out front winning. So that was nice. I didn't have a ton of thoughts on the sprint. I had a pretty good time watching the race. It felt just dynamic. I always, and I think most F1 fans are like this, I feel like I pray for rain every F1 race. And so there was a chance of rain at Miami, and it started to just barely drizzle, and then it went away. So even without like rain, it felt like there was a more dynamic race and like a lot happening and different strategies. And, at the end of the day, Mercedes looked really strong, but I had more enjoyment watching this race than I did some of the earlier races.
Yeah. And I mean, we can jump into it now as far as a topic, but online on X and just articles, I've been seeing essentially just a ton of slander on the Miami race and people saying how bad of a race venue it is. And I don't know if it's just the Brits being salty that we've had the best race of the season, in my opinion. But that was my initial thought was this the best Formula One race of the season thus far?
I mean, I think so. I think I was enjoying this one more than anything else. Like there was just more that was happening, and it felt like there was more true racing versus just like strange electrical, like hybrid pass and repass and like people harvesting but not actual competition. It felt like there was like some good scrappiness, even in the midfield especially. But like out front, there's like a ton of lead changes. Whenever Kimi gets a good launch, that'll be the day. But it was, I just thought it was actually pretty exciting, and I thought Miami was a good track for the current car.
I thought it was a great race. I don't know if it's because racing has been so poor this year that I was excited to see racing that felt like Formula One again. But the race start was awesome. The Max spin and Max doing Max things where he just keeps it on the
crazy.
That is his thing. Is if you go and look up Max highlights, he does 360s all the time and then puts it back and just drives straight away out of it. It's insane.
He's such a good driver.
Just the rubbing and bumping and like the side by side
rubbing and bumping in Miami, dude.
Chill
a little bit, man.
But yeah, the overall racing, I enjoyed it. I thought it kept me more engaged because I felt like strategy was actually a component of this race. Hence, the McLaren pseudo blunder, loss to Kimi. Would that have changed anything? I don't know. Kimi undercut Lando. What would have happened if Lando pitted after they saw Mercedes bring in George? Yeah. Like there was enough strategy going on that I was like, oh, things could shake out. But overall, I just thought the race was good. I enjoyed it. I felt like from the start of the season, This was significantly better.
Were there any like specific parts of the race that stand out to you as like I just really liked this moment or like this series of laps in particular?
Really, it was an early race. From, I would say, the first 15 laps were awesome, mainly because of the race start, the settling of the pack, and then Hadjar goes into wall, and then Gasly flips, which was insane. There's enough chaos that made it interesting just from racing. But then I felt like, and in most races, the middle segment is always kind of okay, is this going to be boring? Is this going to be good? And usually it's really good when there's wet weather, hence why we're always praying for wet weather.
Bro.
But
they should just spray the track down. Like, it should just be, like, at a random lap, like, that's undisclosed to the drivers. There's
put one of those sprinkler heads that is just in the middle, just going back and forth.
Yeah, dude. I just think it's like, come on, shake it up.
But, yeah, the first laps were awesome, and then really, like, the last 10 laps were interesting to see where everyone was going to come out on top. And then I don't know if you saw this or heard about it, but the Charles Leclerc penalty and then the Max penalty.
No. Was it post-race?
Post-race. So before I jump into it, just giving the quick top 10 finishers of this week. Kimi won the race, P1, Mercedes, Lando, second place, McLaren, Oscar, McLaren, P3, George, Mercedes, P4, Max, P5, Lewis, P6, Franco Colapinto, P7, Charles Leclerc, P8, Carlos Sainz, P9, and Alex Albon, P10. So the big shakeup was, if you saw Leclerc struggling towards the end of the race, did a spin, and you saw Max get him on the last turn to finish above him. So he should have finished P6, but
we should have finished P3.
True.
Like
the Ferrari woes.
He went from podium to P6 in the last.
He got a 20-second penalty post race because he was.
There's no bigger penalty that you can get.
Yeah, it was a drive-through penalty essentially. So it was a 20-second add-on penalty, which kicked him behind Franco Colapinto. Because Franco was 17 seconds behind him. That's what, there's not a lot of information, but he's just struggling with the car, hence why the spin and everything. But he just cut the corners, cut the curbs, wasn't turning. I think he just had zero trust. Max also got a 5-second penalty for a pit lane exit infringement, but it didn't change his order because Lewis was far enough back in the pack. So it was a little shake up there, but Charles was struggling. Ferrari woes continue. I feel like Lewis is the king of the midfield-ish right now. It's like consistent P6, P7, P5.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, poor Isaac Hadjar, too, for crashing out. Because he's been really good. Like, and I hope Red Bull keep him on and don't just kick him out. Because I think he could really be a good second driver to Max.
Yeah, I don't think there's nearly enough data to kick him off the team, like even his first couple races. But what is interesting is as soon as Max starts doing really well in the car, then Isaac does terrible. So it makes you wonder.
Yeah. Did they switch something up?
Yeah. But was there any part of the race that you were keen in on that you enjoyed or hated or anything you noticed?
Dude, I thought the start was just great. I thought the start was really dynamic, and having Lando and Charles like charge up to the front. Charles Leclerc leading. The fact that he was leading at one point and finished in 8th is so gnar. But I thought the first lap and all the action there was like really good. And frankly, I thought Kimi recovering because he went down to 6th at the start.
Yeah, 5th or 6th. Yeah, I think he was caught up in the back of that. And because he got bumped off wide because Max and Lando got a great start. Max kind of took it in, and Charles got a great start. Just Ferrari's start has been phenomenal. Yeah. And they all bunched in that corner. Max went off, then spun, then flipped around. Yeah, I think he dropped down to P5 or P6.
Yeah, so I thought that was just like, it was just a great start. I thought there's a lot of action there and a lot of like really good driving. That coupled with Max's pirouette was insane. Just the ability to spin like that and have the wherewithal to like let off the brakes and actually put on gas to like go forward and turn your wheels like the opposite direction to how you're supposed to, like on the backside of the spin, and like it was just
In
so
the midst
heads
of
up.
traffic.
Yes, yeah, just everyone going around. So that was it was sick. It was sick.
But Natty, here's a question for you.
Okay, talk to me.
Obviously, huge McLaren fan. What up?
Yeah.
But is McLaren and Red Bull, are they back, or is this a one-off?
McLaren looks stronger to me than Red Bull for sure. I think Max is a super capable driver. I'll start with Max. I thought they did well because they took a different strategy that allowed them to really be kind of top of the mid pack. Top of the midfield, back of the front runners. So Max's strategy of keeping hards on and gaining good track position, I thought was pretty smart. But then, he just lost all performance later on in the race.
Yeah.
So I think it's hard to say. Red Bull didn't look too much better to me. They definitely did look better, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh. McLaren, I thought, looked great. I think if some strategy calls go some different ways,
Dude, I think that's the worst part of their game is their strategy department is cheeks.
Yeah, and what was it? They made that pit stop that was slower than it was like a second slower, or was that Ferrari? Maybe it was Ferrari.
Yep, it was Ferrari, and then George came out and passed.
I think if they could have just gotten, like, Kimi just powered past Lando too quickly, and I think if they hold him up a little bit more, then later on in the race, Kimi wouldn't have strung it out on Lando so long, and like there could have actually been more raciness. So I think McLaren looked a lot better. Their front wing changed, so they changed that whole front aero configuration that goes in between the tires, and their top speed was really great. I thought it looked pretty good. Mercedes still has, they're doing something that is friggin' awesome. Yeah. The thing that I don't mind is that Kimi is the better racer than George.
Dude, that was my next question. Is Kimi the number one driver?
Dude, yeah. Aside from his starts, like Kimi's, so again, for anyone listening, like you'll hear this word bogged down. Kimi has been having these really bad starts, and so what's happening, the commentators will say, like, oh, like Kimi got bogged down. Essentially, he's dropping his clutch in a manner that doesn't let you shift into, and I'm going to butcher this, there's probably some engineer that could listen to this and be like, you're getting this wrong. But how I understand it is you're dropping your clutch in a way that doesn't let your RPMs, it like cuts your RPMs, so you have to like rev back up to shift into your first gear, so your initial acceleration isn't terrible, but it's inefficient. And so everyone else, their like 0 to 100 kilometers per hour speed is so much faster than Kimi's, so he just keeps messing that start up. I'm sure that they'll just be running that in sims like crazy. But dude, aside from his starts, he's pretty dang good.
Dude,
and George does not look good.
George does not. And
it's awesome.
I'm like, Kimi, that wasn't an easy race for him. Like, the McLarens had pace. Granted, Mercedes was a much better car in that race. But you have Lando and Oscar, who are both virtually like race winners.
They're so good. Lando defending world champion. And Piastri is a dog.
Also, Kimi got out of the car and the dude looks like a mop. But I was like, I'm stoked for him. I would just love to see the Crown UK boy, George Russell, finish the year, the 1 year that he may be able to win a world championship. He loses to a sophomore in the F1 world.
Yeah. Like, is Kimi 19?
Yeah. Which I saw, dude. All right, quick tangent. I was dying at some of these memes. There's like arrest warrants out in Miami for Kimi because he was drinking the champagne and he's only 19 in the U.S.
No way.
So there's like memes of like Kimi has a warrant out for his arrest for drinking underage.
That's so fun. Drinking and driving. Hilarious.
Drinking and driving, 19 years old in Miami.
That's so good. Yeah, no, Kimi is pretty impressive. I think he's doing what he needs to do. And like, my hypothesis right now, my theory is that he will probably have a season similar to like Lando's season 2 years ago, where right when you're starting to get success and there's pressure on and you're leading races and you have a winning car, you don't have the experience and you end up making some more mistakes. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kimi makes some costly mistakes if he doesn't win the Drivers' Championship this year. Either George, who is, I would say, a more consistent driver. At the end of the day, like last year, George's consistency, given the car that he had, was pretty unbelievable. I thought he did really, really well. Because didn't he finish 4th in the Drivers' Championship, George?
Last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with a car that wasn't particularly dominant by any means. I mean, it was...
No.
It was
like, he was very
McLaren.
consistent last year, but I'm like, you can't be consistent when it's you racing your teammate for the World Championship.
I know.
It's like,
I know
you two have the best cars. You gotta... The consistency needs to be like Oscar mid-season last year. Just absolutely dominating P1s nonstop.
What do you think about as far as like teams besides Mercedes? Do you feel like there's a resurgence with some of the new upgrades?
I feel like Alpine looks great. I'm stoked for Colapinto.
Dude, their cars can freaking go upside down. That's a sick feature.
Yeah. I have
Pull it up.
My screen just lagged, but like aside from Alpine, I mean, Williams is, I don't know if they necessarily surprise me. They're just kind of consistently in that midfield. Mm-hmm. I was disappointed by Haas, truly. I expected a lot more from Ollie and Esteban, especially Ollie, just because he's been so on form.
Yeah. He's been really good.
Yeah, it was... I was laughing because Crofty mentioned this weekend that Aston Martin was having a good race because they were fighting with Cadillac. And in the back of my mind, I was like, Cadillac just developed their first car for Formula One ever, and you're saying Aston had a good race because they're fighting at the back of the field.
It's crazy.
But I would say the one that I'm intrigued to see how they keep up is going to be Alpine. Because Franco's not the better driver. I would say Pierre is the better driver, but I was stoked to see Franco up there because he's kind of not talked about a lot, and I don't think anyone really knows if he's actually a good driver. I think he's just
hard to
F1
say.
Material, but he's not the top name on the grid. I feel like everyone is more notable than Colapinto.
Yeah.
So they're interesting. I was just genuinely excited that we had a shotgun blast of all the top teams scattered across the top of the field. So it's fun to see it, Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren, just all mixed up right there in the top 6 to 8. Mm-hmm. And especially at race starts, because Ferraris are going to have a great launch and they're going to make it chaotic at
Dude, they've been
turn 1.
so good on launch. I don't get that.
I don't know what they're doing on the back end, but it's working well. And then anytime Max is P1 to P3, turn 1's going to be interesting. Mm-hmm. So anytime there's, I would take the Ferraris at 5 and 6 with that launch, and then a Max at a P3, and I'm like, that turn 1 is going to be phenomenal. But
yeah,
I'm just excited that we're finally back into Formula One, and it feels weird because it feels like we just got back from the off season from this weird lull.
I know,
and there's not much that has happened, and I'm intrigued to see. We got the Canadian Grand Prix coming up May 24th.
Yeah,
so
which is always, I love the Canadian Grand Prix.
Dude, very slept on. Lewis is typically great at that racetrack.
It's a heavy rain racetrack as well, heavy
right there on the river.
It's it's a good track. I feel like it's always a good race. So it's that in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, why are we having a 2-week break? Someone slot a race in, for the love of God.
Well, it's like they can't change it now. Everything's too set in stone, which is a bummer because it's you have one race over the course of 2 months.
Mm-hmm. Hey, since we're talking about future races,
talk to me, man.
Getting your thoughts on this. Monaco Grand Prix is coming up after Canadian Grand Prix. Typically,
we're going.
Dude,
I gotta say yacht.
We can't afford Monaco.
Dude,
We'll
we
just
emptied our
we'll go to
savings.
Monaco. We'll go to Monaco for the race and do a 5-day water fast. Is what we'll
my
do,
God.
and we'll still walk out a couple grand in the hole.
Oh, that'd be so bad.
But Monaco is, for the last several years, is iconically a dumpy race.
Yeah, but it
just
could be
'cause
really fun this year.
Cars are narrower. They're
They got
thinner.
those little boost buttons.
little boost.
They got boost.
But so I'm intrigued. Like, can we actually go too wide in corners? Like, I would love to see.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just imagining it. What is that? There's turn 1, and then I don't know if that's considered a turn when they go up the hill and veer left. But then they have that section before the hard right U-turn. And I'm just thinking of like, man, I can totally see Max trying to just go too wide down that narrow alley.
Sending it. No, I think it would be a good race. I think it will actually be kind of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Especially, yeah, I feel like it would be nice if it was dry. That one to see kind of like that. I feel like that's the best circuit to like actually test some of this like boost stuff and like all of the electrical systems that are new with this hybrid era. But
Yeah.
still crossing my fingers. We change it back to naturally aspirated V10s.
Dude, there's a lot of conversation about it right now. Like, I think finally FIA is
Burn the
like,
fuel.
we effed up. We effed
Really?
up on. There's a lot of talk about it, but they're like, we can't do anything until 2030, I think, anyway.
Oh.
But there's talks about going back to, I think it was like either V8s or V10s.
V10s would be sick.
Dude, side note, you would actually love this.
Talk to me.
Shout out Matt Armstrong. There's this YouTuber. His name is Matt Armstrong.
Oh, I know. Is he the British guy?
British guy that rebuilds supercars.
Bro, he's so sick.
And his
He's hitting that Bugatti right now.
Yep.
Bro,
Yep.
he's so wholesome.
Dude, if you would love his YouTube channel.
No, I watch his videos. Yeah.
So he rebuilt a Lamborghini SVJ, which is a V12.
Insane.
And dude, just listening to that car, you're like, oh my gosh, I need that on Sunday mornings at 3 a.m. when they're racing in Australia.
Just
like,
wake me up.
Yes.
A hot cup of coffee and a V12 screaming in my ear.
Can you imagine how insane, like, just genuinely take a second, imagine with our technology nowadays, how insane racing would be with the V12 engine.
It would be awesome.
Cars would go so fast. It would be so dangerous, and it would be awesome.
It would be awesome. No, hey, shout out to Matt Armstrong, though. He crushes. I love his YouTube channel.
Dude,
it's so cool to watch him rebuild all
I've
these
been
cars.
going back to all of his videos now. Right now I'm watching his rebuild on his Porsche GT3 RS that he bought.
Insane.
And he, like, flood damage, was submerged underwater, ends up just rebuilding the whole engine. And you're like, I just love his content primarily because of the battles he goes back through between companies. And Bugatti's a perfect example. He's like, oh, this water pump is from a Passat.
Yes,
and
dude.
This airbag is from
an Audi
Q3.
Yeah. It's
and
crazy.
he's just exposing everyone that doesn't want to cooperate with them. And he's like, okay, totally. I'll just show you why. And the funny thing about the Porsche right now is it's a German car, but he's going through and it's like, everything's made in like Czech, Ukraine, Spain, Italy. And the only component so far that's built in Germany is a brake pedal.
Crazy.
But, dude, sorry for the tangent. I'm just like,
no, I
would love to see engines back, but we're going to be here for a while. So at least the rule change that they've made seems to have made a difference in racing, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Before we jump into our last segment, Natty, any last thoughts?
No, I think I'm just excited to see the season go along. You know, it was a good race. Glad to be back. The war on oil continues. RIP.
Hashtag big oil.
Dude, hashtag big oil's taking our money. Dude, I'm so pissed about that barrel price stat.
I'm still annoyed.
I
Yeah.
can't drive anywhere.
Yeah.
My truck bleeds gas.
Yeah. Which it's not fun when you fill up your truck and it's $100.
$100. Anyways, okay, we can go on. But yeah.
Natty, it's
Talk to me.
time. Natty, legends and losers this week. It's been a while.
It's
been a while. But Natty, let's
Yes,
start with
Matt.
a loser this week.
Ooh.
Who is your biggest loser from the Miami
Dude.
Grand Prix?
My loser of the week has to be Charles Leclerc.
Oh.
Last lap, Charles Leclerc. I was honestly, I think he's such a good racer. I think if he was with McLaren or with Red Bull, he would have had multiple drivers' championships by this point. And the last lap just summarizes his time with Ferrari so well. I was so bummed for the guy. He also just seems like a sick dude, like he'd be one of the boys. And so, yeah, him just spinning out, losing a couple places, getting that penalty, dropping from a podium to 8th place is so brutal. It's such a kick in the pants. And so, yeah, he
Dude,
was
the Ferrari
loser
team
of
as
the
a
week.
whole is just
Losers.
losers. And,
Poor guys.
dude, what do they call it? The Tifosi, their little fan base.
The Tifosi. Which, why is that? Do we know?
No.
Okay,
no,
well,
you
hey,
should-
that's my dumb question for next epi.
Yeah, no dumb question is what the heck is a Tifosi?
What the heck is a Tifosi, dude?
But I'm like, the Ferrari fans are just, you have Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, who are both phenomenal
Insanely
drivers.
good drivers.
And you're struggling in the lower tier of the top teams.
And have been for 6 years.
Dude, it's brutal. Let's bring Daniel Ricciardo back. If we're going to have some great drivers in a shit car, at least let's put Daniel Ricciardo in there.
Oh my gosh, Danny Rick. Dude, he's out here living his best life.
But-
Okay, who's your loser of the week?
My loser of the week, I'm following your lead here and also going with the driver, is George Russell. Mr. Preppy Boy himself. To be a number 2 driver behind a sophomore in the F1 grid.
Can't even grow beard.
Dude, he's supposed to be like their prodigy boy-ish. I don't know. He's a poster child for Mercedes from the UK.
Totally.
Like, just fits in perfectly. Is like your guy, and he
Yes.
is just ass cheeks. Like,
He's so, bro.
Dude.
He's not good.
dude, if something doesn't change, I'm going to start putting him in conversations with Lance Stroll here shortly.
No. George is so much better than Lance.
But yeah, George is definitely losing right now to have the best car. Dude, it reminds me of Lando's mental battle when Lando was fighting Max for the world championship. I think George realizes he is in a competitive car and can win the world championship, and he's just choking.
Yes.
Where meanwhile, I think Kimi's just like, oh, I'm winning races. This is awesome. He's not
And
thinking
he's
of
like,
he's not thinking of
he's
world
driver
championship.
2. Yeah.
He's just
No,
like,
it's
oh, this is fun. I get to win a Formula One race because he's still
So
19
sick.
in his second year in Formula One.
So sick. Who's your legend of the
My
week?
legend of the week is the Miami Grand Prix. It's like there was so much shit talk on Miami's racetrack and that it's a terrible racetrack, and I feel like it's all coming from the Brits. So just remember who won the war, and our racetrack is better.
Holy crap, dude. F1 America is right. Oh my gosh.
To tailor to our audience, because that race was the best race of the season. Granted, will it stay that way? Probably not.
Probably not.
However, I was stoked to watch it and enjoyed watching it, and I like cheers to Miami. I feel like they've gotten better. Like, people are trying to bash on the celebrities that come, like, they make it all about the celebrities and try making it this huge thing.
Yeah.
Like, comments are like, they're pricing people out of it. And I'm like, what the hell do you think, like, they're doing in Monaco? Or, like,
Totally.
I mean, every Formula One race is insanely expensive to go to, period. It's like if you're going to
Yeah.
a Formula One race, you're expecting to pay a lot of money. So I'm
Drop
not
in the
expecting
bag.
for it to be a cheap event. I mean, look at their sponsors: Rolex, Tag Heuer, Louis Vuitton. I mean, it's like meant for that fan
Monster
base.
Energy.
Shout out this week's episode brought to you by Monster, Lando Energy's
It's
new
not brought
drink.
to you by no. We do not get paid by them. We would take their money, but we do not get paid by them.
But yeah, it's
Sponsored
like
by
I was just sick and
Dirtbag.
tired of the slander on the Miami Grand Prix and U.S. races in general. There's less slander on the
This is our sponsor. Dirtbag Hydration.
there's less slander on the Austin Grand Prix because it's a circuit and it's a good racetrack. But I'm like, it's good racing. It's fun. They sold out, so F1's doing well there. And it's just like another fun spot where we also don't need to wake up at 3 a.m. to watch a race, which, dude, I almost miss a race because I forgot that it's at a normal time zone for us.
Oh, it's crazy. Crazy.
But, Natty, who's your legend of the week?
Dude, my legend of the week is Liam Lawson because
Say more.
of his dive bomb into the corner of the final straight, where he then absolutely, well, not the final straight, but he dive bombed Pierre Gasly and flipped Pierre Gasly at low speed. And you know, I love seeing the car go
Stick
upside
those elbows
down.
out, baby. Stick
Bro,
them out.
I love seeing a little roll in F1. The cars that should never, ever, ever in a million years roll. I love seeing a good roll. And so I was grateful for Liam Lawson just yeeting Pierre Gasly, and Pierre just doing a little whoop, 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 and then ending up on the barrier. It was very low key. It wasn't a very dramatic crash because it was so low speed. I think they were going like 20 miles an hour when he rolled him. But I was like, this is awesome. This is sick. I come to F1 in part because I hope it becomes a demolition derby. So
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Liam Lawson this week.
Dude, well, we're on the topic of crashes. I don't know if you caught our previous Japanese Grand Prix featuring Davey. But we're talking about the Ollie Behrman crash.
Okay.
It hit 52 G's on
Insane.
his. I was thinking of this crash. I'm like, oh, this one looked bad because Pierre flipped. In retrospect, like, easy, dude got up. I'm like, in comparison to what Ollie went through, I was like, that.
Yeah, he like got out of the
Woof.
car and is like, oh, like limping around
Limping.
and stuff.
It was brutal. But
And you know what it reminded me of was Verstappen's crash at Silverstone
with Lewis, the
with
little
Lewis.
tire on helmet.
I think it was 53 G's, which is insane.
Well, you're talking about the other one where he.
No, that one, yeah, that was Imola, or that was Monza, that one you're talking about. I'm
Yep.
talking about the one where they're at Silverstone going around that long right-hander.
Yep, and
then clips his wheel, and Max spins out and slams in the barrier. He was going like 170 around that turn, and then hits the barrier.
Dude,
53 G's.
That's where I'm like, let's get back to V12. Let's make that 100 G's. 100 G's.
I want to see.
I want to see an
someone suffer.
explosion. Every crash, I want to see the Romain Grosjean.
Oh my god, dude! Yeah, it used to be. F1 used to be hard, dude.
Dude, when they used to have manual shifters down by their leg.
Insane.
But
Come on.
well, Natty, that's it for this Miami Grand Prix race
Come on.
review. We have the
Straight epic.
Canadian Grand Prix race review coming up in a couple weeks. Until then, check us out on Twitter, Instagram, at the F1 America Pod. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. And until then, we will see you. We're out. Goodbye.